Good evening, hello and welcome. You're with the news today, your primetime destination. News without the noise. We'll get you all the big stories and perspectives in a moment and our newsmakers. But first, as always, let me tell you our big talking point tonight. There's been a triple teen suicide that has stunned the nation in Ghaziabad. We'll ask what drives young teenagers to suicide. Also, the battle in Parliament is intensifying between the Modi government and Rahul Gandhi and the Congress. We'll tell you more on that. And among our special guests, one of India's top trade policy economists, Arvind Panagariya, tells us why he believes the India-US trade deal could be as big a moment as 1991. Plenty to look forward to. But tonight, I want to start with an unimaginable tragedy. It comes from Ghaziabad near the national capital. A story that has raised troubling questions about teenage mental health and, according to some, the influence of online culture. 3 minor sisters died after allegedly jumping from a high-rise building, leaving behind a devastated family and a shaken neighborhood. While the father has blamed a Korean online game for their suicide, police say there is no evidence to support that claim. The police say the kids were heavily influenced by Korean shows and music, but the girls were also lonely and the father had stopped sending them to school. What's the reality? It's our top story tonight.
Three teenage sisters, deeply influenced by Korean pop culture and denied access to their mobile phones, allegedly took their own lives. Ghaziabad is reeling from this shocking tragedy. The sisters, aged 12, 14 and 16, reportedly jumped from the 9th floor of a residential building early Wednesday. The incident happened around 2:30 a.m. in Bharat City, leaving neighbors terrified and a community in shock.
We are at the very spot where the bodies of the 3 young children was found. This is the apartment from which the children jumped to their death from the 9th floor of this apartment in Ghaziabad. And this is where at about 2 in the morning where the bodies of the young children 12, 14 and 16 were found, now marked by the police and cordoned off. Obviously, it's a scene of crime and that's the reason why this entire area has been cordoned off. But this is where the body of the children was found.
फर्स्ट टाइम पे इन्होंने मुझे बुलाया कि पढ़ना कुछ अजीब हो रहा है, तो मैंने देखा कि यार वो चले गए, एक बार उतरे और चले गए, तो मैंने इन्हें बोला भी कि कुछ नहीं हो रहा, आप बिना मतलब का टाइम वेस्ट करो, सो जाओ। तो बोला नहीं पढ़ना, 2 मिनट रुको, कुछ गड़बड़ हो रहा है, क्योंकि किसी को देखा था इन्होंने कि पूरा बॉडी को बैक साइड से पुश किए हुए।
फर्स्ट अटेम्प्ट में वो वहाँ से हट गए थे, मतलब जब मैंने मैम को बुलाया तो वहाँ से सीन वो गायब हो चुका था। मैंने बोला जस्ट वेट, मैं 100% श्योर हूँ कि कुछ ना कुछ तो गलत है।
The girl's father has claimed a Korean online game may have played a role. According to him, the game had 50 tasks, with the last one scheduled on Tuesday. He also claimed the middle daughter acted as the leader, giving commands, and that the sisters had kept the game secret from everyone.
एक मोबाइल था, उसी में खेलते थे, वो भी पुलिस के पास है।
वो पुलिस के?
हाँ जी, हाँ जी।
और तीनों बच्चे एक गेम खेलते थे या सेपरेट?
नहीं, गेम भी खेलते थे, वीडियो भी डालते थे, यूट्यूब चैनल बना रखा था कोरियर का उन्होंने।
कोई जानकारी कुछ पुलिस ने बताया हो आपको? ये बार को केस ट्रांसफर होगा?
हाँ, ये बताया था उन्होंने कि वो डार्क वेबसाइट होती है कोई, उससे करा था उन्होंने, तो उसके जरिए कार्रवाई करेंगे वो।
The police, however, ruled out any gaming angle.
जो लड़कियां थी ये कोरियन कल्चर से प्रभावित थी और ये कल्चर के बारे में उनको जो सारा इन्फॉर्मेशन मिलता था, सारा जो उनका सोर्स था वो मोबाइल के माध्यम से था। तो इन दोनों चीज़ों से वो प्रभावित थी और जब इनका मोबाइल बंद हो गया तो उससे ये प्रभावित होकर उन्होंने ये कदम उठाया।
Police recovered a suicide note that provides insight into the girl's state of mind. It read, and I quote, "Please read everything in this diary. Everything written is true. I am really sorry, Papa," and I unquote. The note also had a scribbled crying face. Neighbors revealed the father had 2 marriages. They had 5 children and the whole family was living together. These 3 daughters had not been going to school for the past couple of years.
ये जो बच्चे थे, 3 बच्चे थे, आपने हमें बताया कि ये बच्चे स्कूल तक नहीं जाते थे?
कोरोना के टाइम से स्कूल नहीं जा रहे थे, उससे पहले कोरोना तक तो गए थे, उसके जो कोरोना हुआ था तो फिर बंद कर दिया था जाना।
पिता का जो प्रोफाइल है, अगर कुछ आपके उस पर प्रकाश डाल सकें कि क्या फाइनेंशियल कंडीशन को लेकर भी कुछ चीज़ें कही जा रही हैं? बच्चियाँ स्कूल भी नहीं जाती थी, हमने सुना है।
ये जो बच्चियाँ थी ये पिछले 2-3 साल से स्कूल नहीं जा रही थी, और इनकी जो फैमिली की बैकग्राउंड है और इकोनॉमिक कंडीशन है, ये अभी इनके बारे में अधिक जानकारी की जा रही है और ये सारा जांच का पार्ट है।
The bodies have sent for post-mortem while police continue investigating family members, mobile phones and digital activity to understand the full circumstances behind this heartbreaking incident. The truth is still unfolding. 3 teens are dead and police are looking for answers behind this tragic loss. With Sneha Mordani and Himanshu Mishra in Ghaziabad, Bureau Report, India Today.
And joining me now is Dr. Amit Sen. He's a mental health activist, child and adolescent psychiatrist, founder Children First India. I appreciate you joining us, Dr. Sen. It's been a terrible tragedy that's happened in Ghaziabad, but a case like this throws up all kinds of questions, many of them still unanswered. Why would 3 young girls commit suicide together in this manner? Lots of theories doing the rounds, including the possibility they were addicted to a Korean online game. Once their mobiles were snatched away, they went into depression. Now, that's only one of the theories. What's your sense? What would lead young girls like this to commit suicide or die by suicide?
Rajdeep, it's not a simple, there can't be a simple answer to this. It is multifactorial, it is very complex. And I don't think by, attributing it to just one cause, like a particular game they were playing, is minimizing it. It's kind of, making it sound ridiculous in my mind, because there are many factors that actually lead up to young people taking to such, internet games or social media, gravitating towards certain behaviors. The ultimate suicidal act is a culmination of sometimes months and long years of suffering, emotional suffering, for different reasons. And there are many things that add up together. For instance, in this family itself, I've been reading snippets of, the news that is coming out, it appears that it was a family where the father had married twice, because the first wife did not conceive. And then they had 3 girls, in a society where the birth of a male child is celebrated, and every time a girl child is born, there's a sense of doom and gloom. What kind of treatment or sort of emotional support these girls got? There's also news that apparently they didn't go to school. They apparently were not able to cope with school life. And what was that for you? Were there emotional hassles? Were there learning difficulties? Or were they neurodivergent? We don't know any of that. And so all these kind of things comes together. And apparently one of the girls had written in bold letters that I'm really alone. Now, who addressed it? Was there a space to be able to, for these girls to be able to communicate and seek any kind of social, emotional support or any kind of connections out there? So all of that comes together. And when we have a trigger, perhaps a trigger from a game or a post which is triggering, we attribute everything to that one last thing, which is such a shallow and small way of looking at these things. I think it's much more complex, and unless we are able to address it in these different layers, I think we'll miss the bus all the time, repeatedly, as we have been doing.
One of the things that stands out for me from what you said is the art of listening, the art to really show empathy. In this case, Dr. Sen, the family appears to have been a little dysfunctional. The children not going to school or not being sent to school, possibly in that cloistered environment, addicted to one game, but either way, clearly emotionally distressed, and there was actually no one there to reach out and empathize with them, including potentially their parents. Is that the problem, that even parents often don't recognize the kind of emotional distress that their near and dear ones could be going through because of certain actions that they have taken, and empathy is really the key?
Indeed. Oh, absolutely. That's so true that, the emotional well-being and the mental health of young people is such a remote thing in people's minds. As long as children go to school, they, make a career, get good grades, we are fine with it. The moment, and the moment those things start slipping, we get worried. But when it comes to their inner world, their emotional turmoil, I mean, there are hardly any people who give anything to that, right? There are many reasons why eventually suicides can happen, and I think it's important to also recognize that suicide is the number one cause of death in youth in India, and indeed the suicide rates are double that of the global average. And in Indian women, young women particularly, it's almost 6 times that of the global average. And that tells a story. And it can't be simplified and just brought down to one cause, which is doing this. There are multifactorial things. And one of the things that you said, Rajdeep, is spot on, that we don't have spaces, emotionally safe spaces. We don't have people who are willing to listen to young people who go through their own turmoil, whether it is about their future, whether it is about grades, whether it is about getting bullied or abused, whether it is about peer relationships, all those kinds of things, and particularly girls who feel, ever so marginalized in the society, which is patriarchal and male-dominated.
Dr. Sen, appreciate you joining me here on the show tonight. Clearly, this case, more details could come out in the days ahead. But for now, for giving us your sense of why we need to be careful with those who are near to and dear ones of ours, including our children in particular, to give them that kind of environment where they feel wanted and where they don't feel distressed, is an important takeaway from this case. A real shocker there in Ghaziabad. I want to turn from there to the shocker in Parliament, where for the 3rd straight day, pandemonium prevailing in the Lok Sabha. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's reply to the President's address, scheduled for 5 p.m, did not take place or could not take place after massive protests led by the Congress and other opposition MPs who ghear out the Prime Minister's seat, forcing an adjournment. All of this, remember, comes a day after several Congress MPs were suspended and Rahul Gandhi was not allowed to complete his speech. The fact of the matter, and not just inside Parliament, there was also a bitter flashpoint outside Parliament when Rahul Gandhi took potshots at Union Minister Ravneet Singh Bittu, once with the Congress, now with the BJP. All of which suggests that Parliament, particularly the Lok Sabha, is seeing yet another complete breakdown. Take a look at all that happened.
सदन के अंदर और किस तरह से भारत के पहले प्रधानमंत्री अय्याशी कर रहे थे.
A day of high drama, both inside and outside the Parliament. The biggest flashpoint, a personal one that erupted at Parliament's Makar Dwar between Leader of Opposition Rahul Gandhi and Union Minister Ravneet Singh Bittu, who was once in the Congress and was close to him.
Here is a traitor walking right by. Take a look at your face. That's what it looks like. Hello, brother. My traitor friend. Surrender. Don't worry, you'll come back. Surrender.
Bittu struck back sharply, branding Rahul Gandhi and protesting MPs as देश के दुश्मन.
ठीक है, उनका मेरे से कोई नाराजगी पर्सनल हो सकती है, लेकिन वो इतने बड़े परिवार के, इतने बड़े वो पार्टी के लीडर हैं, तो वो आज इस तरीके से उन्होंने जो बिहेव किया, जो चीजें कहीं, तो बिल्कुल मैं तो इस चीज का जरूर भी मेरे मान मर्यादा के लिए मैं स्पीकर साहब को भी कहूंगा, भी अब अंदर तो थे अब बाहर भी ये हमें गेटों पे घेर के अब शब्द बातें कर रहे हैं.
The face-off between the Modi government and Rahul Gandhi started from the morning. A day after Rahul Gandhi cited former Army Chief General M.M. Naramne's memoir in Parliament, the BJP responded with books of its own. BJP MP Nishikant Dubey walked into the house holding books detailing alleged Congress scams, including Bofors. The move triggered loud protest from the opposition. Dubey was denied permission by the chair, but he went on. Papers were torn. Sheets were flung across the house. Torn pages flew back amid rising disorder.
निशिकांत दुबे जी तभी उठते हैं जब सरकार की इजाजत होती है, जब सरकार कहती है कि जाओ हाउस को डिसरप्ट करो. एलओपी को एक किताब जो प्रकाशित है, जो आज आपके सामने भी दिखाई है उन्होंने, कि प्रकाशित किताब है, अमेज़न से खरीदी गई प्रकाशित किताब है, उससे कोट नहीं करने दे रहे. आप नियम कह रहे हो कि ये नियम का उल्लंघन है। तो अब ये महाराज उठे हैं और ये 6 किताबें सामने दिखा रहे हैं, उनमें से कोट कर रहे हैं, आप कुछ नहीं कह रहे हैं, इनका माइक चला जा रहा है।
Outside the parliament, Congress MP staged a protest. Leader of opposition Rahul Gandhi read former Army Chief General M.M. Narawane's memoir.
This is Mr. Narawane's book. नारावने जी की किताब है। इसमें उन्होंने पूरा अकाउंट लिखा है जो लद्दाख का जो अकाउंट था। I don't think PM will have the guts to come to the Lok Sabha today, because if he comes, I'm going to give him this book. So if PM comes, I will go physically and hand him this book, so he can read it, and उनको पता लग जाए कि उनकी सच्चाई क्या है, देश को पता लग जाए। Thank you.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi was scheduled to address the Lok Sabha on Wednesday evening. The House was first adjourned till 5 p.m. The Prime Minister was expected to speak when proceedings resumed. But barely a minute after the House reconvened, it was adjourned for the day. Bureau Report, India Today.
Okay, let's raise the big question there. Is there now a total breakdown in government-opposition ties yet again in Parliament? Is the Lok Sabha Speaker partly responsible? Is he really a neutral umpire or biased? What will it take, and who is going to now restore trust between the two sides? Just some of the questions that we will raise. Manickam Tagore is a Lok Sabha Congress MP, Deputy Whip of the party, who's also been suspended, among the MPs who's been suspended because he allegedly tore the papers in front of the Speaker. He's smiling at the moment, so he's not apologetic. Aparajita Sarangi is senior Lok Sabha BJP MP. I appreciate both of you joining us. Manickam Tagore, to you first. When I mentioned that you had been suspended for tearing the papers in front of the Speaker yesterday, you're smiling at the moment. Is this the approach that you're going to take, that you don't care, you're going to just make sure now that because Rahul Gandhi was not allowed to speak, you're not going to let Narendra Modi speak? Today your MPs were gherawing the Prime Minister's chair with placards, which again is against the parliamentary rules.
Good evening. We need to understand that the discussion on the President's address started well. 1 hour for discussion where 2 BJP leaders spoke. Sarvanand Sonwal ji and Bangalore South MP Tejasvi Surya. Surya also spoke many things about imaginary stories, attacking Congress leadership and others. There was no, we were not at all getting angry with these kind of things, not allowing him to speak, all these kind of things, disturbance, nothing we were doing it. But when leader of opposition was stopped, when leader of opposition wanted to speak, when defense minister started to behave like that, when home minister started to jump, when parliamentary affairs minister again and again started to jump, then when they had a planned story that they will not allow the leader of opposition to speak, and next day when that was pushed to the next level, that they will not allow leader of opposition to, after authenticating the letter also, he will not be allowed to speak, and they will call the next party, the TMC party. Then TMC refuses to speak. Then Samajwadi, they call it. Samajwadi colleagues refuse to speak. Then they call DMK colleagues. DMK colleague refuses to speak. All the opposition parties' voices are silenced. Then they call TDP MP. The rules are broken there. The rule paper has become only a paper there. What I was tearing was only a paper. It was not rule. It was just, there's a bogus thing this house has become, that the government is pressurizing the honorable chair. We respect the honorable chair. Honorable speaker has not come to the chair yesterday also and today also, because completely the government is pressurizing the honorable speaker's chair. Lot of pressure is going on. Nishika Dubey, the habitual offender, has been given the mic when leader of opposition is not able to get the mic today, and he is quoting 6 books.
No, but does that, I allowed you to have a full run on it, but does that justify tearing papers in front of the Speaker, putting placards in where the Prime Minister is about to speak? I mean, is there no attempt being made to go to the Speaker, go to his room? You're a Deputy Chief Whip. Go and tell him what you're doing is unfair. We believe that Rahul Gandhi must be allowed to speak. Is there no backroom talk at all between you and the Speaker's office? Is there a complete breakdown?
No, we are very democratic in nature. Today also they went. Today also our leadership went. I am a suspended MP, therefore I have not gone to meet the Honorable Speaker. Today also K.C. Venugopalji, Priyanka Gandhi and Dipinder Hooda, all of our leaders, K. Shureji, all of them went. Javid, my colleague as whip, they all went. They said what Nishikant Dubey is doing is completely unacceptable. This is against all the rules. Rules are becoming just papers. It is not being followed.
You're saying the
It is
fact
being
that
selectively
Nishikant Dubey
followed.
was showing books. You're saying the fact that Nishikant Dubey was allowed to show books targeting the Congress versus your leader not being allowed to show a book of unpublished book of General Narawane. Am I correct?
The problem is that they asked for authenticating that book itself. The whole discussion would have gone smoothly if, when defense minister asked that whether you will authenticate it, leader of opposition said that yes, I will authenticate it, and he gave next day authentication also. Before that, there was a meeting with Honorable Speaker where we explained that our leader of opposition will give it in authentication also. Therefore, we have to understand it. We are ready to walk to that level. Where this breaking down is from the government part. Government is becoming more arrogant. Mr. Kiran Rijiju completely is failing as Parliamentary Affairs Minister. He is unable to face. It's a minority government. 240 MPs are only there. They are able to manage another 40 MPs because of help of ED, CBI and other fund issues and others. That's the way they are able to manage the government. They are not able to see the whole India bloc with 239 MPs as united force. We are very clear that the insult to leader of opposition is an insult to opposition parties.
Okay, I've heard you now. Aparajita Sarangi, I've heard the opposition leader. Now to you. It's very interesting that you get Nishikant Dubey to put out books where on Bofors, on allegedly Indira Gandhi's links with KGB, and there the person in the chair says nothing. He's freely allowed, I'm showing those pictures, he's freely allowed to talk about the books, but Rahul Gandhi cannot speak on a book, excerpts of which are in a magazine. So technically it's a published work, the magazine is a published work. Is it now that the government also has decided, okay, if Rahul Gandhi is going to embarrass us in some way, we will also embarrass them and use Nishikant Dubey. End result, the Prime Minister of the country was also not allowed to speak today.
A very good evening. Budget session has just begun. We had the presidential address on 28th of last month, and 3 days are already lost. I think all of us must accept this and must acknowledge this. Now, having said that, let me tell you that since the time Rahul Gandhiji stood up and started showing some unpublished material, the ruckus in the Lok Sabha was created. Now let me tell you, let me give you an instance what happened yesterday. In fact, most of us know what had been happening for the past 2-3 days. Yesterday, there was an instance which I would like to share with you. I was in the Lok Sabha looking at the proceedings of the Lok Sabha. There was complete mayhem everywhere. And then suddenly the LOP says, I am the leader of opposition. Do you think I need permission from the chair to speak? Believe me, I am a second-time parliamentarian. I was aghast. I mean, the Honorable Prime Minister, when he stands up to speak, he seeks the permission of the chair. Whosoever may be sitting in the chair is presiding over the House. Now, here is an LOP who says, does he need permission because he is the LOP? Now, this is smacks of arrogance. This is absolutely adamant behavior, and I would also say that this smacks of ignorance of the rules of Lok Sabha.
But
now, we are all
if
guided
the
as
speaker,
parliamentarians.
ma'am, what happens if the speaker is seen to be brazenly partisan? I take your point, but what happens if the speaker is seen to be brazenly partisan? The fact is, I've checked the rules. In the past, people have been allowed to quote from newspapers, from magazines. Now, it may be embarrassing to the government. Listen to him, and then the Prime Minister has every reason to rip Rahul Gandhi apart in Parliament. But the Speaker seems to be acting as a 12th man for the government. That's not his role.
Not at all. Not at all. See, let me get back to the rule. 349, Rules of Procedure and Conduct of Business in the Lok Sabha, which all of us have been quoting for the past 3-4 days. Now, this particular rule says that no material, no newspaper can be read out if the matter so raised is not in connection with the business of the House. Now, what was the business in the House? I think all of us must appreciate. I think Speaker Shri Om Birla ji is absolutely right when he denied the LOP to speak. You know, when he asked LOP not to speak. Why so? Because the business in the House was motion of thanks on the presidential address. Now suddenly, since you want to talk about Indo-China relationship, suddenly you want to talk about some internal security matter which have been in your mind for so long, you want to seize this as an opportunity. This is something which obviously any person sitting in the chair would not like. There is absolutely no partisan approach.
But should there be no attempt?
So
should there be no attempt, ma'am, at any ma'am, should there be no attempt at some kind of backroom negotiation, as often used to be the case? In the past, there would be enough mutual respect that you went to the both sides went to the speaker's chamber and sorted it out. Now even that doesn't happen. There is absolutely no dialogue.
See, Sri Kiran Rijuji yesterday stood up. Today there was absolutely no chance because there were 4 adjournments. Yesterday he stood up and he said that he met 2 senior leaders in his chamber. One, of course, he named Sri K.C. Venugopalji, and another very senior leader he named. He said they had come and we had discussion. It's not that backroom parleys don't take place. The point is, it's a question of their relevance. They want to stop Prime Minister from talking. Now, what does it prove? See, he's the Prime Minister of the country. You may like it or not like it, but he has been chosen by the people for the 3rd time. He's extremely popular. We have to accept it and acknowledge it.
But Rahul Gandhi should also get the same
leader of the Lok Sabha.
But similarly, you must be ready to listen to Rahul Gandhi and they must be ready to listen to the Prime Minister.
I have all respect for leader of opposition, Sri Rahul Gandhi ji, not saying no. And all the while, the chair kept on saying we want to listen to the LOP. But then, you know, showing that book, showing that unpublished material, whatever it was, related to Indo-China conflict, what was the need? What was the relevance? That is the whole issue. So I think if he would have delivered his speech, we would have been
whether
very
it is
happy.
relevant
One after the other.
Whether it is relevant or not, you know, there are ways, Parliament has ways in which you can address those issues. It need not be that you stop an individual. But Manickam Tagore, the feeling is Rahul Gandhi, according to the government, is this permanently angry young man. And now the word used by Aparajita is arrogant. That if he is not allowed to speak on his terms, then he's not going to accept the ruling of the speaker. And even outside the Parliament, we saw what happened today, the fracas with Ravneet Bittu. Is any of this really necessary? Why have any of this? Is it really necessary?
Oh, three things I have to answer. You have to give me time. My learned colleague is a very respected person, and she said about the rule and quoted about books being displayed. Ma'am, we are asking the same rule. What happened to that same rule with Nishikant Dubey? Why that rule doesn't get implemented in that time? One.
Because
Second,
Nishikant Dubey was putting out published books. Rahul Gandhi had put out an unpublished book, is the argument given by the Speaker's chair.
No, it's not like that. This is a published book. Rahul Gandhi was having a physical book which he will present it tomorrow whenever Mr. Modi is coming. And he went to present to Honorable Speaker also that same book.
That's an advanced copy that was eventually not published. But the point I'm making, Manickam Tagore, the argument being made is that the Congress party is saying my way or the highway. The government is also saying that. I'm not saying government is also saying my way or the highway. Then how will we have Parliament function?
We want the Parliament, 1 hour of the Parliament function. Who blocked the opposition leader from speaking? The question is that only. We need to understand when Tejasvi Surya was making all kind of wild allegation, when the cabinet minister, when he started, Sarbanand Sonwalji spoke, when he alleged that Congress has neglected in the Northeast, nobody disturbed. We sat and listened to their fake narratives. But what we have to understand it, when leader of opposition speaks, they are not ready to allow him to speak. Then the person, the ex-DGP of Andhra Pradesh who was in chair, the tone he used it. I had permitted you for this purpose. You can't, I will not permit you. This is not the tone of the Honorable Speaker. You need to understand it. Who is the chair?
Is there?
It's Honorable Speaker's right. We elected Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker is the person. He deputes somebody as chair. Their language is the problem. Regarding the arrogance part you said. Then third, I'll come to you the third thing. We have to understand it. Your visuals will show. where we were sitting. I am one of those suspended MPs. My learned colleague has passed through in the morning also, and the afternoon also she has passed through when we are protesting. We were sitting, and there is no disturbance. There were few of our BJP MPs will comment on us. We will have a comment, sarcastic comment passed like this. Mrs. Nirmala Sitharaman passed through us. There is no comments exchange. Rajnath Singh ji passed over. No comments were exchanged. He told that he went on. Therefore, these are all the people who behaved dignified. What Bittu did it when he was walking from there, he is saying, "ये देखो कारगिल जीतने वाले लोगों का, ये लोग कारगिल थोड़ी जीत गए." Arrogance of Bittu was his answer. He is a traitor. He has betrayed Congress, and he is saying that Kargil जीतने वाले लोगों का. He is insulting 2 Punjab MPs who are sitting there as suspended MPs. How can he name like this?
You know, the fact is, this is all very, very sad. We are now getting news that there may be no Prime Minister's speech also in the Lok Sabha. So, Aparajita, Sarangi, the feeling I get is that while Rahul Gandhi you accuse of being arrogant, there is a feeling that Prime Minister Modi also is contemptuous of the opposition. That he doesn't care, even if he does, this will be the first time in the history. This will be the first time in the history of the Lok Sabha that the Prime Minister will not speak in a motion of thanks. Is this the kind of precedent you want to set?
Please allow me to disagree with you. Today, Honorable Prime Minister wanted to speak right on dot 5 p.m. and we were all waiting. You are aware of that. And suddenly, the women parliamentarians of the Congress came with a big banner with something written on it, and they blocked the pathway of the Honorable Prime Minister to his chair. We all went there. Believe me, I was also one of those. You can see the video. I was aghast. I didn't know what was happening. And then I went to that particular point. All other parliamentarians from our side, from Treasury benches were also there. We didn't know what was the ruckus, what was happening. And these ladies, with all regards for them, they almost blocked the path. Now, how does the Prime Minister come to the chair to speak? Now, if he would have come, there would have been some more unpleasantness, some untoward incident in the Lok Sabha, and then it would have actually got blown up. So maybe I think in the fitness of things, Prime Minister chose not to come.
What stops Rahul Gandhi and Prime Minister from...
We all
you see, the problem is, in the past, ma'am, leader of the opposition and the government had respect for each other. Or the Prime Minister and the leader of the opposition, they could talk to each other. Now they don't even talk to each other. I am being very clear about this. They should be picking up, and Treasury benches, Rijuju, should be calling a meeting where the Prime Minister and Rahul Gandhi are present. Sort this out. This is not the way a parliament should run, ma'am, with due regard. Mr. Rijuju should pick up the phone to and Rahul Gandhi and the Prime Minister should talk to each other and sort it out.
See, it is easier said than done. When you see the other side displaying such undignified behavior, do you think you will feel like calling up the person concerned? I mean, dignity of the Lok Sabha has to be honored, and we all have to behave in a befitting manner. You know, it's extremely important, and whatever they have been doing, completely unbecoming of parliamentarians. And they have to agree to that. You know, they may like, they may not like, but I think they have to agree to that. Every time the opposition parliamentarians will come over to this side when our leaders are speaking. Any minister speaking, they would come over. You know, today when Honorable Commerce Minister was reading out from a piece of paper, all these people came and, you know, showed the placards. What is this going on? Why should you be coming over to this side? There is a way of, you know, registering your protest.
Either way, what I'm
seeing... You cannot just disrupt a speaker.
You will blame them, they will blame you. At the end of the day, another day in the country's parliamentary history has been lost and wasted, and now the news comes that the motion of thanks on President's address will be passed without the Prime Minister's speech taking place, which is unprecedented in the history of the Lok Sabha, and a sad day in many ways if this is what our Lok Sabha has been reduced to, a complete breakdown in trust between the government and the opposition. The opposition leader's speech was not allowed to be completed, and now we are told the Prime Minister will also not speak. Who is to blame? What is one to say? Thank you both very much, though, for joining us. I want to shift focus from there to another thing, to another event that has been unprecedented. For the first time in the country's history, a sitting chief minister went and appeared before the Supreme Court to argue her case. West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee personally appeared and argued before the Apex Court against the SIR exercise in the state. Here's a report on what unfolded in the latest episode of Mamata versus the Election Commission, this time in the Supreme Court.
A sitting chief minister arguing a case in the Supreme Court, a rare sight. West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee takes a fight against the Special Intensive Division and the Election Commission to the Supreme Court. She appeared in person on Wednesday when the matter was taken up by a three-judge bench headed by Chief Justice of India, Surya Kant. After the senior lawyers argued her case, Mamata sought the court's permission to present some arguments herself. Claiming she was appearing before the court as a litigant and a resident of Bengal, Mamata Banerjee told the court that the SIR process is being used only for deletion instead of mapping. She said the Election Commission was using micro-observers, BJP-ruled state, who do not understand Bangla, to delete voters, citing logical discrepancy. Mamata claimed the Election Commission had refused to accept Aadhaar cards, domicile certificate and other state identity cards. Citing newspaper reports and photos, Mamata also alleged over 150 deaths of BLOs, particularly those who had died by suicide due to the work pressure. Chief Minister claimed the Election Commission had become WhatsApp Commission, where the decision communicated by micro-observers is accepted for mass deletions. When the Election Commission's lawyer Rakesh Dwivedi claimed non-cooperation by the state government and said micro-observers were required as the state government had not deputed enough SDMs. Mamata claimed her government has provided all available officers. The court issued notice to the Election Commission and asked the Chief Minister to ensure enough officers are deputed to work with the EC.
ERO को सुपरसीड करने के लिए माइक्रो ऑब्जर्वर्स को बिठा के इनके बैकएंड से लॉगिन खुलवाया गया है. इलेक्शन कमीशन आप लोगों को यही कहेगा कि माइक्रो ऑब्जर्वर्स आर ओनली बीइंग अपॉइंटेड टू ऑब्जर्व. इफ द ERO इज agreeing with the micro observers comment or observation, your name is automatically being deleted. I have concrete proof.
The lead lawyer of the EC accused Mamata Banerjee of politicizing the issue.
There is no particular bias against state of West Bengal. Whatever allegations the Honorable Chief Minister had made, those allegations, according to the Election Commission, are completely misconceived, are basically meant for narrative setting in politics. That's what the Election Commission unfortunately has been facing is.
The Supreme Court has now listed the matter for the upcoming Monday, and the Trinamool Congress is now suggesting that she may once again appear on Monday. As of now, the Supreme Court has suggested that if the West Bengal government successfully deputes officers, because they've asked a list of officers from the Trinamool Congress as well, if that is given by the Trinamool Congress and that is accepted in the court, then the requirement of micro-observers can be done away with. This is something that the Trinamool is right now maintaining as a massive success before the court of law. With video journalist Pradeep Gupta and Anisha Mathur, this is Shreya Chatterjee for India Today.
Okay, let's turn then to what will be our continuing focus over the next week. Remember, earlier this week, US President Donald Trump and Prime Minister Modi announced the signing of the much-awaited Indo-US trade deal. While the government has laid out the broad contours in Parliament, the specifics are still missing. Commerce Minister reiterating the government's assurance that farmers' interests would be safeguarded, stressing that agriculture and dairy sectors will be protected. But what does the trade deal really mean? Is it really a game changer? Over the next few days, we'll be speaking to several leading voices on this. I'm joined today by a very special guest from the United States. Dr. Arvind Panagariya has been Chairman 16 Finance Commission, former Vice Chairman Niti Aayog, and he is, of course, one of the world's leading experts, a professor at Columbia University when it comes to trade policy. Appreciate your joining us, Dr. Panagariya. Now that that announcement has been made, your first reaction, I read, was to call it the father and mother of all trade deals. Do you really believe that the celebration should not be, do you believe the celebration should be put on pause mode till we see the details of the deal? What makes you believe already that this deal is the father of all deals, sir?
As far as celebration is concerned, I don't mind having two celebrations. So I would not put it on hold, at least for the first one. And from India's point of view, the two deals together do actually make the mother and father of all deals, because these are the two largest entities with which we trade globally. You got Europe, and that agreement gives India tariff-free access to the European market. And then you got the United States, where we have not tariff-free access, but access at tariffs that are lower than most of our competitors. So in a way, from any potential investor's viewpoint, India now becomes extremely attractive location. Both because of these two deals, the market now enlarges considerably, not to mention India's own substantial market. But also India has a very large workforce, about maybe 600 million or so, with more or less all levels of skills being available here. So I think if we also do a few more things internally to make the business environment yet more friendly for the businesses, I think we are well within reach for the 2047 Viksit Bharat ambition to be realized.
But Dr. Panagariya, the US, many of its officials, the US president have claimed that India will reduce tariffs and non-tariff barriers against certain US products to zero. They've not given the product list, timelines or legal tests, but this has led to concerns that while this will be a win for America and its economy, we are still not sure what zero tariffs impact it will have on India. Will it lead to America flooding Indian markets with its products, and we may not necessarily get similar benefits of Indian products going to America, where there is still an 18% tariff and we are not as competitive?
So let me first address your first question. There are two questions you have asked. On America flooding the market, as a trade economist, I totally see it the opposite way, that there is a tendency, a very strong one actually, to neglect and completely ignore actually the benefits that accrue to consumers when you liberalize trade. Unfortunately, trade economists, in fact, always emphasize the benefits to the consumers, whereas in the policy space, consumer interests are completely neglected. And I sort of really greatly appreciate it personally, because I went to the United States in the mid-1970s, when we in India used to be practically an autarkic trade regime, meaning we hardly traded. And the kinds of goods that I saw in the United States, I'd never seen actually in India. Now things have changed. We are open economy, so therefore we do see goods coming in and all. But I cannot neglect the benefits to the consumer. So there are some sensitivities. I understand we can come talk about that in agriculture, etc. But overall, I see our own liberalization as a positive for consumer benefits reason, but also because it makes our industry more competitive. You have to compete against the best in the world, and that is what brings out the best out of you. I mean, it is not a coincidence that a lot of the scholars who operate in the global marketplace generally do better.
If I may stop you, if you're saying that American goods coming into India at zero tariffs, are you saying that Indian companies will be able to compete with the Americans on a level playing field? Are we really in a position, sir, to compete fully with America when it comes to their products?
Yes, and I really think, again, look at our own experience. In 1991, when we first opened up, there were so many kind of these fearful voices, even some of our industrialists arguing against this liberalization at the time and all. But actually, what followed was much greater strength evolving into the Indian industry. Today, Indian industry is way stronger. I think there's no comparison what our industry looked like in 1990s and what it looks like today. Even if I give you some numbers, in 2002, our exports of merchandise were about $50 billion. By 2011, less than a decade later, they were 300 billion. There's a six-fold increase within a decade. It's very rare for anything to go up six-fold within a decade. So, competition does do good things to you. No doubt, those who cannot compete and are incredibly inefficient, then they are using resources inefficiently for the country as a whole, and they ought to go elsewhere. So some adjustment would be required, but we have got to allow that competition to happen.
So net, Dr. Panagariya, you're telling me you believe this trade deal, we are moving in the right direction after years of protectionism. You believe that we finally recognize the importance of trade liberalization, and in a sense, perhaps, you see this much like 1991 as an opportunity that can enable industry in India to make a great leap forward. Am I broadly correct, sir?
I fully agree with your summary, Rajdeep, and I would say that what we have done now with the two deals actually amounts to something bigger than 1991.
You're making a pretty big statement to me, sir. You're saying that this is an even bigger moment than 1991. Having studied both 1991 and today?
Well, that's something we can debate someday. Having studied both 91 and what is happening currently, I feel pretty confident of what I'm saying. I'm including also some of the big reforms we have done in 2025, the labor law reform in particular and all. So if I put that 25 reforms and these two deals together, that certainly is a lot bigger than 1991.
Interesting. Dr. Arvind Panagariya claiming that if we get our trade policy right, you believe this can be a bigger moment than 1991. As I said, we'll get a variety of voices, sir, but I appreciate you joining us over the next few days. We will look for voices who can tell us what really this deal could mean for the Indian economy, both the positives and indeed the questions. Let's turn to tonight's good news today story. In the freezing cold of Jammu's Arispura sector, a mother's quiet devotion is keeping a hero's memory alive. Every morning, Jaswant Kaur visits the statue of her son, BSF Constable Yumnam Singh, cleaning its surroundings. Singh, who was killed in action in 2016 while foiling an infiltration attempt, remains a symbol of courage and sacrifice. For his family, the pain never fades, but their pride in his bravery burns ever stronger. Take a look.
In the biting cold of Jammu's Arispura sector, a silent gesture speaks louder than words. A mother visits the statue of her son every morning and cleans the surroundings. Jaswant Kaur has also draped a blanket around BSF Constable Yumnam Singh's statue to shield him from the cold, just as she once used to do when he was alive. Yumnam Singh was killed in action in 2016 after foiling an infiltration attempt along the Indo-Pakistan border in the Hiranagar sector of Kathua.
हम रजाइयां च बड़ने आ बिस्तरे कंबल लाने आ ब्लोर लाने आ ठंड लगती है मेरे बेटे को भी ठंड लगती है इसलिए मैं उसको कंबल दिया है ऊपर सुबह उठनी है चाय बनानी है पहले दी जुगी चाय कड्ढनी है फिर खाना बनानी है पहले फिर इसके लिए खाना कड्ढनी है फिर मैं खन्नी है यानी मेरा बेटा भूखा ना रह जाए.
For the family, the pain remains raw, the pride unshakable.
खाना भी लाते हैं चाय भी रख देते हैं इसको जो भी फ्रूट सीजन का आता है पहले इसको हम देते हैं कोई भी सीजन का हो लीची हो आम हो या कोई भी फ्रूट हो सीजन का पहले इसको फिर हम खुद खाते हैं.
Yumnam Singh's sacrifice saved many lives. His memory lives on.
What you are seeing behind me is not just remembrance of a martyred soldier, but a mother's pain and eternal love for her son who laid down his life for the nation. Jaswant Kaur has draped her son's statue with a blanket in order to shield him from the bitter cold. These scenes have evoked emotions across the country, but it also highlights that the families of our martyred soldiers have to endure pain for a lifetime. With video journalist Neeraj Kumar, this is Sunil Bhatt reporting from Araspura sector in Jammu for India Today.
Lovely story there. Mothers will always be mothers. Let me leave you with our image tonight, because traffic on the busy Mumbai-Pune expressway remained paralyzed for more than 24 hours after a gas tanker overturned on the busy corridor. The accident occurred around 5 p.m. on Tuesday in the Khandala Ghat section in Raigad district, where a tanker carrying highly inflammable gas allegedly lost control on a slope overturned. Soon after the crash, gas began leaking from the tanker, prompting authorities to shut the Mumbai-bound carriageway as a safety measure. As you can see, that's the huge traffic jam right across the Mumbai-Pune highway. We leave you with that image. Thanks for watching. Stay well, stay safe. Good night, Shubhratri. Jai Hind, Namaskar. News without the noise. I wish Parliament would also debate without the noise. Bye for now.